Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. We're going to continue our flight into this amazing world of ancient Chinese language that I was born into. Okay, so we talked about 降妖除魔 yesterday, which is a wordy way in Chinese to say witch hunt. And so because Yao have this woman symbol in it, so it's especially targeted woman, I guess. And Xiang and Chu, both of them are kind of a you contain or capture or remove them. But actually Yao and Mo are two types of I guess from the perspective, if we target woman at something that you want to contain or remove. I guess this from a male's perspective, it would be Yao is somebody who could be an attractive woman that you try to contain your own Yao like attraction to you so that you're kind of detached, not be I don't know manipulated by this external force. And more is like your internal struggle that things you probably too much desire that want to do something without like not exactly reality based, but you really disappointed and kind of lose your inner peace. So the demon is that concept of unsettling thoughts or desires. So 想要除魔, even if it's settled on a female figure, but this is from a male perspective. It's kind of contain your own internal struggle. But actually now looking at this phrase, witch hunt, like this is almost like a genre in a lot of Chinese shows that's kind of based on old Chinese culture where ghosts, a lot of them are especially female ghosts, are it's our horror movie genre of trying to capture them, remove them. Okay, so this is today 除四害, the same 除 is remove, but it's another kind of a happening in reality. This is not folklore, this is real thing. So 除, we have this cliff image that's kind of three staircases stacking up together. I mean, three is probably the extreme case in Chinese to repeat something three times. That's almost like infinite. You don't take it literally as three. Three is a lot. Normally two is enough to show it's multiple. So three stacking up together means something is really tall. You cannot be easily climbing over. So that's our kind of a barrier image. And then we have the right side with, I mean, the whole thing pronounced as yu, it actually means extra, means you have probably food stored in this warehousing, like a barn looking image, like the whole structure of the horizontal beam and the vertical frame are this barn beam thing with, I guess this is a log thing. And then the two separated this in languages, often I mean, in Chinese words, often we see it as a separation means the air flow from you, the breathing, like you can take it ease, you can really breathe out when the air are channeled on separate ways. That means you can easily breathing. So this ease of mind, because of you have enough food stored under the roof, that was used as a self-referral, like me. I guess this is try to remind people to be content with yourself, to breathe, to take it easy. You have food, you're enough. That's kind of an ancient way to tell people you're enough image. So this extra meaning paired with this cliff together, according to some scholars, this is the staircase of palace. So this is, the way, the pathway leading to empress residence. So, I mean, residence, when we say that, it's not single family housing, okay? It's gigantic, big big place for the rulers of that country. So this, I don't know why that was used as that. Probably ancient texts have this usage that we see this word in that context, that kind of figured as the staircase of some palace. But somewhere in the history, this word was used as remove. So I cannot come up with a good story as to how to put this extra, meaning extra, and this cliff thing pair together. It means remove. If you come up with some logic behind the word creation, or the meaning of these two symbols combined together means remove, let me know. Okay, so remove, and this is our number 4. We have a number 1, 2, 3, right? And when it comes to 4, it's too much to draw 4 horizontal lines. So 4 was transformed in this enclosed space, almost like a circle, but rounded corners. So before Chinese become a rectangular word, we actually do have curves there. And then we have this shape internal. According to some scholar, this means the nostrils, taking a breathe in, breathe out practice, and that's our number 4. Okay, my explanation is simply because there are 4 vertical lines in there. But this curve thing I saw it in some other structures. It means like over here and here, the 2 empty like openings. It means opening. So it's not 4 straight lines, right, in the middle to separate. But with the curve, it does have something to do with airflow, just like this symbol. It has something to do with airflow. And when it's kind of cornered on the upper left and upper right, it kind of show you within that space, they are carved out, these 2 portions as openings. And the mostly relatable for humans is, okay, your nostrils, that's 2 openings right there in your face. Okay, so that's our number 4. And hai means harm. Hey, hai and harm, almost sound-wise, they are kind of corresponding. I guess that's an easy one for English speakers, that if you think about how to say harm in Chinese, it's hai. That's kind of a bonus connection point between the 2 languages. So there are 3 components in here. We have this big arch with a chimney on the top. That is our space. Okay, it's more like indoor domestic space. So this covered space with already some roof or chimney or some airflow control engineering part. So this is not just a shed. This is build structure with a chimney on top. Okay, and we have this is our mouse symbol. So it's almost like an up tilted smiley face, right? A smiley mouse. So that's our mouse symbol. And over here, the 3 kind of a slightly diagonal line with a horizontal, with a vertical line, kind of looking like this. It means chaotic, like it means not orderly. I'm not sure if the language creators, when they use this diagonal line, because you see most of the Chinese language strokes are horizontal or vertical, and most they are kind of curved in the middle, right? So this is like a vertical but curved toward, like diagonal toward the end. It's not fully diagonal themselves, but here is a rare case of things drawn intentionally diagonal. And I guess diagonal in terms of visual signaling, that gives you a sense of it's not peaceful, it's not horizontal, it's not flat, something is changing, right? Because it's diagonal. There is an angle, so things are, if you place something, things are going to fall. Oh, something like that. So I guess language creators also capture that sense of diagonal lines, and if there are 3 of them, that means multiple unstable things mashed together, and then they're kind of on a one string. So the 3 diagonal lines with a vertical line together, that means chaos. So we have this domestic space. Mouse, oftentimes we use the mouse symbol to mean speaking. And we have chaos. Can you imagine like why language creators use the 3 symbol to mean harm? Because a lot of times harm, like harm one person due to another, is through verbal, through what you say. And here is my interpretation would be like within a domestic setting, so within a household, and speaking, and also the diagonal line thing is chaotic speaking. So it's like a thinking not straight or giving not consistent opinions, creating chaos, creating confusion. And with speaking, that is regarded as the representation of harmful, is bad communication, basically, right? And bad communication, whether the intention is good or bad, the chaos was created from speaking not with care, and that will bring harm to like the household or the relationship, whoever live within that space. So that's the original concept of harm. So now in the historical concept, because this like 降妖除魔, if that was like in Chinese fantasy of how to get rid of your internal demons, or even like a supernatural female ghost trying to seduce you, that kind of story, that was a fantasy or not really reality based. That's some conceptualization within the mind. But this 除四害 happened in history exactly in 1955. I think it's 1955. So that's Chairman Mao's era. And all of a sudden, he wanted people to have this campaign to remove 4 pests. So this hai, in this context, historically coined phrase, like this was not any time-honored ancient Chinese 4-character phrase. This is like 3-word. I guess 3 is easier, a lot easier for the mind to capture. It's kind of a catchphrase, a slogan back then. So 除 is removal, 4 害 means 害虫, or yeah, basically it's pests. So we have flies, we understand mosquitoes, yes, mice, yes, we understand, but we have spirals over there. So because spirals are kind of easy targets in comparison with the other ones, or it was a significant, if it was characterized as pest on the ground, that spirals sometimes take grains as well. So they pick on dropped grains, so crops. So they may be kind of, take food from people's harvest, right? I mean, food for people. So they are taking that too. So on that ground, Chairman Mao started this campaign to encourage people everywhere in China to capture these 4 types of pests. And because sparrow kind of an easy target, or it's a more dramatic target because it flies, it's kind of a more grandeur if you can capture more. And or probably because it was thought to relate to food security back then, right? So people are really mobilized to capture, and legend has it, I mean, historical record has it. I didn't go validate, I'm not historian, just read on some sources that 400,000 sparrows were captured in 3 days countrywide. So that's some sparrow capturing. Ironically, it's science. Okay, so 1950, so 70 years later, when we look back at the history at the time, kind of historically similarity is recycling. So some not exactly the wise thing to do policy is happening as well. So this time it's not exactly pest that visible, it's a virus, right? So we know in China too, it's kind of a campaign. zero COVID policy. It's like zero, no, everybody deal with it as if you can target that virus as easily as you can contain whatever pests regard as, right? So that's some historical similarity happening. And over here, a poster from back then. So it's kind of like trying to mobilize people. And I find it amusing to find this image because Uncle Sam do that posture, pointing right at a camera or right at an audience, whoever viewed the poster, right? Poster. And I mean, I find like a Chinese woman using that kind of aggressive gesture, like index finger pointing at you. That's something I haven't seen that much before. But I guess in the historical context, like she is authorized to do that, to spread the words about what the China now want everybody in China so authorized and empowered to do, to kill the sparrows. And so over here it says 同志 comrade. 你为除四害做了些什么? Okay, what did you do to remove the 4 pests? So that's even the like linguistically, it's kind of similar to some mobilization used by English-speaking politicians as well, right? What did you do for your country? So this is what did you do to remove the 4 pests? So it's like if you don't participate, that's a crime even, right? If you don't do anything to remove from any of the 4 on the wall here, under the cross, it's almost like that's not cool back then. So that's the propaganda back then, and this is historically happened. So anyways, a few years later, people actually realized, wow, by removing spirals, you let the real crop eater go rampant without their predator, which is the sparrows. So the harvesting becomes even worse. So people, I guess, back then didn't support whatever the campaign they launched, didn't do a thorough research to say who, like within the link, was actually the position of sparrow in the food chain, right? And later on, the policy was changed, updated to some other, like a less harmful, less food security related animal before people figure out like what you are actually doing is to harm your own crops. Okay, so that's the 除四害 in history, 1955. Okay, cash into the currency of thinking by one word a day with Sophie. See you another day.